Hi, this is Multi-Topic Talk. Welcome to this new video. This time around, we are doing a retrospective on the Flash TV show. And this is the first part of 3 parts. You know why? It's because I know people won't sit around to watch a 10-hour video. I don't even know if people will sit around to watch like part 3, which is like the longest. So, the biggest reason why I decided to divide my retrospective into 3 parts, it's because I see the show as having 3 parts. The amazing start, followed by its downfall, followed by the Eric Wallace era. I will also say this, the Eric Wallace era felt like a return to form, but it was still not good. It's very sad to say. Now, me and my co-host on the Red Blue Podcast, a weekly podcast all about live action, animation, all about DC and Marvel stuff. We also watch movies weekly. We review movies. We review shows. Over there, we talked in depth about each single season, and because we had the podcast going on as season 9 aired, we actually had a lot of in-depth talk about season 9. So just go there, link in the description below. Enough plug for now. I think the first 2 seasons of the TV show were amazing. They are really good. Actually, maybe I overhyped the thing. I think season 1 was solid. It was great TV for me. Was it perfect? No, it wasn't. When I see people praising the first season, I can see where they are coming from, but I feel like they disregard a lot the issues that season had. And that's just my take, but season 1 was slightly worse than what I remembered on my most recent watch. As I am recording this intro, that is actually really long, the show is over. But as I record parts of this video, I was rewatching the entire show. And a lot of the clips were back in December and January 2022. And this video is basically uploaded in June. So anyway, season 1 was a solid start. I enjoyed it. The in-depth talk shall start soon after this clip I am currently recording. Season 2 was the perfect follow-up for 1. But here again, that's just my take, my opinion. Majority of the fan base praise and likes so much the first season. I think the main reason is Reverse Flash. People just liked both Reverse Flash we had. We had Tom Cavanagh, and we had Matt Letcher, I believe. I'm not quite sure about Matt Letcher. Maybe I'm wrong and I just massacred his name. But these were the 2 actors that played Reverse Flash in season 1. Reverse Flash was a cool villain. I liked that villain a lot. But I do think Zoom was a far better villain. A perfect reverse of Barry. And this is ironic because he's Zoom and not Reverse Flash. Which is fine, I guess, because they wanted to be comic book accurate, I am guessing. I say that because I'm somewhat of a normie in that department. Most of my knowledge on the comics and stuff are videos I'm watching. I don't have comics as of right now, but trust me, in the future I will have my own collection. This is one of my many goals in life. Like, I got a manga collection. It's not that huge, but I got a few books. Anyway, let's go back to The Flash. The first two seasons were a really strong start for this show. It was a really good spin-off of Arrow, creating over here right now the Arrowverse, a TV show I talk in depth over here on this channel and on my podcast. The Arrowverse itself started in 2012, and The Flash came in 2014 as Arrow was starting its third season and the start of its own downfall. But anyway, The Flash used to be great, and it's coming from a big fan of the first two seasons. A fan that held hope to the end. A fan that really wanted the show to be amazing. But it wasn't. I will be fully honest. If I wasn't making content, if I wasn't watching from season 1, I think I would have dropped out of the show later on. Because the show gets worse and worse. But here, let's be positive. It's the start, and the start was great. Was it perfect? No. Was it good? Yes. Rotten Tomato. As usual, I will take the audience more seriously than the critiques. Most of the time, fans are in the audience. They are not always critique. Anyway, I won't go too deep into that. Let's take a look to the audience. We will still address the critique. As a TV show, the critiques are at a 89%, which means most critique enjoyed the show. Then you get the audience, which is the fan, the core, the people that tuned in for 9 years to watch the show. They sit at a 61%. Where do I sit? I think they are both wrong. The show is much worse than that. But this is just my take. So with that being said, let's go deeper into each single season. What does the audience think of each single season? I think this is much more relevant than the critique. That's just my opinion here again. When you're making a show, you should make it for an audience. You should make it for fans and not professional. Because professional, let's be honest, they're not everyone. And most of the time, if these professionals don't get early access, they won't go around to watch movies or TV shows. Or sometimes they do, but most of the time, the critique, they get their early access. And this is why they cover something. Or they cover something not because they're interested, but they cover something because it's trending. And this will help their blogs or whatever. So the audience is what matters. Let's do this. Very interesting. Here, we get something that's rare. Both audience and critique, they connect. They enjoy the same thing. Season 1 of The Flash. So this season is seen as one of the best seasons in the TV show. A lot of people, that's their favorite. It's not mine. But I can see the appeal. We will get into season 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and 7, and 8, and 9. And after we cover the person on every single season, we will read at some of the comments made by the audience, because this could be interesting. This time around, I will not read more, because this video, or I should say this trilogy of video, will be long enough without us going too deep into what the audience has to say. So let's do this. Very interesting for once. I'm on board with the critics score more than the fans score. Season 2 was the best season in the show. So yeah, 86 audience, 94 critique. So you can see the gap is getting slightly bigger between the both. And there's also less reviews. It was at 5,000 season 1. This one, it's at 2,500. Keep that in mind. Major dip. Here, I am fully on board with the audience, and we can see half of the audience didn't bother making a review on Rotten Tomato. So either it's a loss in viewership, or I guess they stopped caring about the show, or maybe both. 85 for the critique, it's a bit overrated. 65 audience, I'm resonating a lot with that score there. Meet Season 4, 80% the critique, 52% the audience. And the numbers are similar to Season 3. Both critique and the audience that were watching Season 3, they tuned in for Season 4, and they at least left a comment on what they were thinking. I think this season is underrated by the fans, and it's overrated by the critiques. Was it a great season? I don't think so. It was very average, but it was better than Season 3 for me, at least. Meet Season 5. And the critiques are 94% into it, while the audience is at 57. And this time around, I feel like it's too overrated. This season is atrocious. 94 for this and 57. I don't get the appeal. I just don't understand. I don't. Season 6. 55 for the audience, 85 for the critique. I'm somewhere in between. This was clearly a weaker season than the first two, but it was a step up from Season 3, 4, and 5. So, yeah, next up. You know, things got bad when The Flash has a mask on top of his mask. I think they wanted to remind you, or they wanted to defend how bad this season was by telling you it's because of the queue when people were all getting sick. Critique 95%, audience 35, and look at that, plus 250 reviews instead of 5,000. I think these numbers don't lie. A lot of people, they just stopped watching the show. 95 of the critics. I don't get it. No. How can a critique, a professional critique, tell me that's a good season? The entire fan base hated this season. There are a few exceptions, a few people that are like, oh, that was good, but you can count them on the fingers of one, and trust me, this season is hated by many, and a lot more people actually think it's the worst season of the show, and I can see where they are coming from, because this season was horrendous. So this is why I cannot take these critiques seriously. I'm not a professional, and I can clearly point out at a lot of issues. That show was bleeding with that season. The audience, they are a bit harsh. 35% is quite low, but I cannot blame them. That season was bad. Thank you, Eric Wallace, for this amazing season. I'm being sarcastic, right? You know, it's hilarious. We had roughly 20 critiques in season 7. This time around, we got 2 that bothered freaking reviewing season 8. So I think this is a clear sign that season 7 was bad. And even the critique, even if they praised it, they didn't like it. They were not being honest. Because if that was a 95%, trust me, all these people would be there reviewing season 8. But season 8 was bad. That's what happened. Well, season 7 was worse, but season 8 was still bad. 2 people bothered reviewing the show. 100 among the audience. And this is interesting. We went from 5,000 plus to 100. That's hilarious. Now we got 3 critique. 3. I know the season just finished like last week as I am recording this, but 3. This is the final season of a TV show. The critique tapped out. The audience that reviewed this show disliked it. And 45% is not that far from my grade I gave. I'd say it's a 45. So it's that close, you know, and just because it's the final season, I will just place it side by side with other Arrowverse TV show. And keep in mind, The Flash was the biggest success in the Arrowverse. Maybe Superman and Lois is a slightly bigger success because it's Superman and he is like A-list, S-list. I don't really know these comic terms, but I know Superman is just straight up more popular than The Flash. But yeah, I think The Flash was a big TV show for the network. So let's showcase other final season in the same network and the same universe. Look at that. 125 critique, 500 plus audience. Now, I know the show ended like 3 years ago, but I doubt 3 years from now that The Flash will climb back up and have bigger numbers of people that reviewed it. And I will say this. People that reviewed it, most of the time, there are some pranks here and there, but most of the time are people that watched and that cared enough to just go make a review and talk about how much they liked or disliked it. But they still showed interest toward the product. The Flash Season 9 had apathy, while Arrow Season 8 didn't generate any apathy. People really wanted to see this, and people were active into speaking about it. I don't know how it looks like on other websites, and I won't take the time to do so because that could take very long time, and I feel like this retrospective is already like really long like that, so keep that in mind. Let's move to the other shows in the same universe. Supergirl, final season, a year and a half ago, because the season ended by the end of 2021. A year and a half ago. 13 reviews, 250 plus rating. It's more than The Flash. Now, let's look back next year. If The Flash has higher numbers. And I will say this as someone that sticked around in Supergirl. Supergirl dipped in quality. Season 3 and 4 were really good. I liked both seasons. Season 5 was bad. Season 6 was mediocre at best. So it did dip in quality. And guess what? Guess what? People still tune in and watched the TV show. What happened, The Flash? Let's move on to the next TV show. That one is hilarious. One review, 100 plus people into it. It's hilarious. This season ended last year. So at least The Flash got better numbers than this in a week. So let's praise The Flash for that. It had a more loyal fan base than Legends. Or it was maybe a slightly better show than Legends. Just putting that out there. Okay. Black Lightning really suffered through. Only one review and 50 plus rating. So The Flash was clearly more popular than Black Lightning. And I think, based on my experience with both shows, this is very sad because I do think Black Lightning as a TV show was much better than The Flash. I said it. Black Lightning had 4 seasons. 1 was average, 2 were amazing, and actually 2 were average and 2 were amazing. For me, it never went into trash. It was never disgusting. It was always from average to great to masterpiece level and stuff. With The Flash, it was all over the place. We had some amazing highs and some impressive low. Oh my. I feel sorry for all of these Batwoman fans. 33%. Fewer than 50 ratings. And 3 reviews. So The Flash had better viewership, I guess, when they ended their run. Pun intended. This makes me so sad. If you have been on my channel for a long time, you know how I feel about the Stargirl TV show. It's a masterpiece. Now I see season 3, we only got 3 reviews and 50 plus from the audience. So keep in mind, this 3rd season finished 6 months ago. I don't think the numbers will rise, but that's something to place in perspective. So based on all of these numbers, maybe The Flash was better or it was bigger, I guess. So yeah, we placed The Flash side by side with other TV show, and Arrow and Supergirl both did better. Batwoman, no. DC's Legends of Tomorrow, no. Stargirl, no. So yeah, that's it. So as I said earlier, I won't show more. We will only go through what we see right now. We will scroll down the page to read others, but I won't show more when it says show more. So first comment, this was amazing. I love it. Great job. 5 days ago. 5 stars. 10 out of 10. Another 10 out of 10. 5 stars. The first season of The Flash is a season that ends up being a blast from beginning to end. The villain is well thought out and planned, and the season-long storyline was amazing. This is what I suspect he or she said. Next up, The Flash Season 1 was the gateway to whole new setting. The Arrow was just trying to clean the mess his father had left behind. Compared to that, The Flash is light-hearted. Fact. 5 out of 5. 10 out of 10. By far the best season of the show. So these first 4 comments are on board. They liked it. I don't speak Spanish, sorry. Okay, 1 star. I like superhero stuff, but this is very poorly written. The way the characters talk and behave, it's so odd. A basic sitcom has more common sense than this. Wow. We are talking about season 1? Okay, we have seen different show, but I guess we don't have the same kind of taste. Even Cole, that is much more harsh on me on much more harsh than me on superhero and stuff. He gave, I believe, a 4 or a 5. Maybe that was a 3. Not quite sure. Can't remember. But anyway, if you want to see more, go on our Red Blue podcast with Marvel DC Extinction Whistler. His name is so long, but he's such a great friend. Anyway, it's all brilliant. His story is very good. He builds his plot very well. His characters are brilliant. And the main villain is one of the best in the genre. 10 out of 10 again. My friend finally got me to watching the show, and good God, I loved the first season. The acting was great. The characters were relatable. The visuals were decent overall. Another 10 out of 10. You see, so many 10 out of 10. We got 1 person so far that didn't give a 10 out of 10. Absolutely amazing and so perfect. So, this is about this CGI named Barry Allen, and his mother was killed by something impossible when he was a child, and his dad was sent to prison. So, he liked it, but yeah, he summarized what's going on basically. The show peaked here. Light-hearted, full of fun and charisma. In the same universe as the Arrow is exactly what was needed. Talon is a terrifying villain, but he is built the right way, I guess. Another 10 out of 10. So I won't show more, because I realize I'm at the bottom of my page, and if I want to read more, I need to open a new page. It will take forever. Fans in the first page liked a lot this first season. I'm not surprised. I'm a big fan and defender of first season. You know my thoughts, right? Let's read season 2 now. The Flash season 1. Ha ha ha. So, for a long time I thought that was an amazing piece of entertainment. I still think this season is quite good. But my most recent watch was unique. It was unique because I realized, with a more critical lens, a more critical eye, I realized that the show has so many flaws, and that was back in the day when we thought that was the peak of the show. So, I may sound negative, but here we do honest review. This is my retrospective, and I want to tell something else than what I said in my overview of that season. Because what's the point of making the same video over again? And I will add more to this. When I did my overview, I wasn't as critical as right now. People change, people grow. I'm much more critical than what I used to, and we will use that to our advantage. that season is all over the place. And it's sad to say, but there's a lot of filler. It's not because you have one connecting scene at the end of each single week that these episodes matter. I understand they had a 23 episode format. But here's the thing. You can have a flashback storyline just like Arrow. But if you don't want to take that route, let's say you don't want to take that route, have a different story arc like the Gotham TV show. I said it. What Gotham did right with season 2 and 3 was the fact that they had a 2 story arc within both seasons. And that was great because there's no filler, no place for filler when you have more than one story arc. But with The Flash, we got 23 episodes all about the Flash becoming the Flash and Reverse Flash making some kind of plan to go back to his time zone, to his timeline, to his own. Um, yeah, it's very sad. And when I say all over the place, man, I need to show you the tier list I am currently making as I am rewatching the show. Just to tell you how, all, how all over the place the show feels, to me at least. So here we are with the 23 episode from season 1 and a few episodes from season 2 because as I am recording this, I did start season 2. Now, Power Outage. Let's start off with the worst episode this season. I skip it each time I rewatch the show because I know what will happen. They will take away Barry's speed. To tell you, Barry, you're the Flash even without your speed. They take away his powers because they want to save some money. Because they want to give other characters some good scenes like Harrison Wells sacrificing himself. That episode is really bad. Now, it's not F material because F material is like the worst of the worst, and I remember a lot of them in later season. But it's not a good episode. It's just not. Too many shows did the same thing. It's lazy, it's a trope, it's bad. It was done better in other shows. Here again, love triangle, but this will be on later episode. The love triangle, the Iris and Barry relationship with Eddie, that was messed up. That was BS. That was bad. How many times I rolled my eyes, how many times I just kept seeing because they were unwatchable. So, next up, episode 18, all of the personal drama. That was a really bad episode. At first you're like, oh, Ray is there, the Atom is there, but then it turned into soap opera 103, 101, whatever. It was terrible. It was disappointing. I'm like, the Atom is there. It should be better. It's a semi-crossover. You see, these C mark, they just passed the grade. They are like 60 to 69%, you know? These B mark, they are like 71 to like 89. So, Out of Time was a great episode that could have been higher, but because of the love triangle, it was crap. My biggest issue with the fourth episode, where is it? Going Rogue. That's just an example, but we got a lot of cops just watching the Flash against Captain Cold and Mick. They could easily shoot them down. but they are scared, they are afraid, they hide behind their shield. Barry surviving a full-on blast from both beam. Plot armor. Plot armor is so high in this show on Barry. It's crazy how high the plot armor is. I understand he is the main character. I understand he has a healing factor, but it's ridiculous sometimes. It's just ridiculous. All these times where Barry basically let someone go. All these times where someone escaped from Barry. I'm laughing, I'm rolling my eye. Um, they have a shapeshifter in one of the episodes, I think it's episode 20. People don't have contingency plan to deal with that shapeshifter. And when they capture him, he basically turned into a kid. And then there's that whole scene where he tried to escape and then he gets stopped at some point by Barry. But why? That's terrible. Let's be honest, it's terrible. Eddie just feels like a plot device to end the thread at the end of the season. Fast Enough was the best episode this season. It was the only really good episode. Really good episode. I think if I would grade these episodes like I used to, that would be probably a 10 out of 10 or a 9.7. On the other end, we got the man in the yellow suit. That should be higher, right? That should be a great piece of an episode. That should be a great piece of the puzzle. That should be that amazing episode we all like. But there's that Barry scene where Barry basically confessed to Iris he likes her. I skipped that scene because I was rolling my eyes. I was like, more drama for the sake of it. More drama. That was godly awful. That love triangle was the worst part of this first season. So there are a lot of episodes really high. Some are really mid. Some are good. Some are bad. And we got the worst of the worst, you know? So overall, that season wasn't as good as what I remembered. Because you have seen it. I have some S plus, I have some S, some A plus, some A, some B, so I still liked it a lot. It was a good season despite the flaws. It's just not as good as before. And I feel like the next time I will rewatch, if I ever rewatch the show, it will be even worse. Yeah, I'm kind of scared. Now, I will admit, they hit really hard all these scenes between Barry and his father, or Barry and Joe. Great acting, great material there. And Barry character arc during that season, training to stop the man in the yellow and then realizing he need to let go of the past to move on, was very interesting. I liked it a lot. And man, Linda and Barry worked so well together. Why don't you let them be together? I know Iris and Barry are a thing in the comics. And I may get some hate for saying that. But I don't really care about relationship on the comics if it doesn't make sense in your show. Iris and Barry don't have chemistry. I don't know if they get along in real life, the two actors, but I can tell they don't have chemistry. The scene between Barry and Iris just don't. They don't work. They just. They are eye rolling material there. I'm telling you. Iris is one of the worst characters in the show, even in season 1, and she's much worse than what I remember. Because I remember Iris being better in earlier seasons, but then looking back, I don't know. Like, right now I am watching season 2. She doesn't have any relationship so far, and she is a much better character. Why do you force her into relationship if the character doesn't work with relationship? Why? Why? She's so unlikable. And I thought Iris was great in the first season. And she has her moments. She has her good scenes. When she's not speaking about relationship and love with Eddie or Barry, it works well. When she's doing a reporter stuff, she's a good character. But that breaks the moment she's with Eddie or Barry to speak about feelings and crap. That was really bad. I think I will get uh, Iris team leader of Team Flash over what I've just seen. I still think, after rewatching the first season, it's one of the best, and I'm actually scared to cover the next few seasons. I remember season 2 being my favorite one, and just by taking a look to this juicy list, you can already tell with 4 episodes in that I liked much more season 2 so far. So I hope this will remain. I hope this more recent rewatch of the show won't tarnish the idea of season 2. Yeah, like, Iris is terrible in season 1. In season 2, she is much better because she has no relationship. There's no relationship drama with love interest and stuff. She has some relationship drama, like with her mother and her brother and Joe, but it's not as bad, or I should say, it's actually good in season 2. And they are actually smart about what they are doing. It just didn't work in season 1. Now, if I keep speaking about season 1, I think I will just do circle. So, we will do some closing thoughts on the first season. Captain Cold, great character. Team Flash, they are all great and they bring something to the show. And Reverse Flash as a villain is cool. He's not the best villain out there, but if you look at Cicada, Shikada, if you look at Savitar, Reverse Flash is a gem. He is amazing. But if you look at, I don't know, Icicle, Deathstroke, Prometheus, Reverse Flash is not that great. It's sad to say. His build-up was interesting. The foreshadowing was interesting. I think it was a good start for the show. And I think my final verdict on this most recent watch, Season 1 of The Flash deserves 8 out of 10. Now, before we close on that part of this video, I just want to show again. See, there are 4 episodes that are really lower. We could say 7 episodes are lower, but then there are 16 episodes that are really liked. 16 episodes I really enjoyed. So this is why overall I think it deserves 8 out of 10. So yeah, that's the thought process. Let's move on with the video. I actually forgot to mention an issue I had in Season 1. Now, I start off with this because Season 2 has the same issue. Lies, breaking, relationship apart. lies being used as lazy plot device. I freaking hate it. But of course, nothing new. A lot of show use that kind of lazy plot device to move some character around and change dynamic between character. Freaking secret and lies. Are you kidding me? For real. There is also the pep talk syndrome. Like, let's repeat 20 times, run, Barry, run. Like, you don't only have your speed, Barry, you also have your brain. I do like that a lot because he has a brain, but the show makes him more stupid just for the plot to happen. And Barry, even if he should be smart, because in some cases he is smart, even if he should be smart, they need a team around him. I can understand the need of having co-stars and other character in the show for him to have interaction, but don't make your main character dumber just to have an excuse and a reason for some character to be around. Well, there again, that's just me trying to be critical and picking pieces apart. And now, there's a picture of Season 2 right now, but this can also apply itself to Season 1. And I will even say this, it's even worse with Season 1, but I could understand the argument that he was a newbie, a new guy, a new speedster, a new hero, and he was surrounded by people that kind of knew his body and what he could do. But even in Season 2, like, he still has a lot of things to learn, and that's one aspect of the show I'm actually on board with. He doesn't know everything from the get-go, but it's a double-edged sword, because sometimes it's justified and it's fine for him to learn from others, but other times you're like, he should be the one teaching to others. He should be the one very smart around, because he has that very fast brain, and they nerf him. Like, he has speed reading when they need him to have, but in other scenes they will just forget about it, or they will basically say, yeah, he doesn't know that thing, even if you could have read it somewhere with his speed reading. Anyway, that's just many aspects of the show, and that's what happens when you have a character as OP and as powerful as the Flash. You make yourself a lot of plot holes here and there. Even the best writer, they will struggle making Barry make sense. We are into Season 2, 10 out of 10. 9 out of 10, 9 out of 10, 8 out of 10, 10 out of 10, and 8 out of 10. So let's read like the first few lines. Thought not as good as the premiere season of the television series, The Flash Season 2 still offers plenty of fun and is well fleshed out villain. Thought it can be dark, I guess. The season is almost perfect. It's a 9.5. So this season pick up after season 1, where a big portal tries to eat the city. Barry isn't able to stop it, so he had to sacrifice. I can't read. It's official. Feels like a repeat of season 1, but in as many good ways as possible. Did we watch the same TV show? Season 2 was very different. There was no love triangle. We had the multiverse in that season. We had the perfect mirror to Barry as a villain. What else? Zoom. Will you say Zoom goal is to return home? He doesn't give a crap about returning home. Zoom wants to kill people because he's a psycho. Cisco gets powers. It's not the same thing, bro. It's not. Anyway, next up, a good second season of the show. Multiverse Edition was good. All the characters are fun and have good chemistry. Villain was just a replay of the first. We have not seen the same at all. Zoom and Reverse Flash are very different. Reverse Flash only killed when he needed to kill for his plan to work. Zoom killed because he was a psycho. How is it the same thing? I think people that are saying it's the same thing don't understand writing, characters. All they see are like flashy stuff and CGI. They're like speedsters, same thing. No, it's not. You will tell me Godspeed is the same as freaking Zoom? Are you going to lie on that as well? Godspeed is a joke. He is no villain. Zoom is a serial killer that will just kill for fun. And now you're telling me they are the same? Godspeed is just Godspeed. He's a trash villain. Let's not talk about him. He didn't kill anybody. Don't really need to kill to be a good villain, but if you're just screaming and barking, you don't look serious, man. The Flash Season 2 does everything a sequel should do and more. Character, plot, flow, and ambience. It really reminds us why we love the show. Agreed. Next up, Harrison Wells 2.0 has hilarious chemistry with Cisco. Agreed. Best part by far. Agreed. Enjoyed the travel to parallel universe, but villain, pacing, and plot's a bit messy, TBH. I disagree. Maybe like the last few episodes were actually the episode that really dragged down the season for me. But I can see where you are coming from. I can see it. 10 out of 10 keeps the level of the first season, the humor, Tom, Zoom, all of it. Can't complain about this season. Next up, 10 out of 10 again. The best season, the best cliffhanger, a terrific villain, and a stunning plot and characters. There you go. 9 out of 10, all par with season 1 for being its best season. I think season 2 is superior, but that's just me. I can't understand Spanish, but I see a 10. So, I see a small dip. Some people were not as fan as season 1, but they like season 2. Most of the people read liked season 2. I'm one of them. Season 2 was the best season of the show. As I am recording this, season 9 aired last week. The last episode aired last week. And that page, that's like the first 6 comments. I already see a dip. Less people are into the show. 9 out of 10, 8, 5, 7, 6, 5. Okay. The Flash third season has some rough patches all throughout, with some of the story feeling like it's going nowhere, but once again the writer outdid themselves. Not really, I disagree with you. I think this season was great but not perfect. So this season picks up right after season 2, when Barry goes back in time, sorry about that, and saves his mother from being killed by the Reverse Flash. And one of the opening line is like, "Who's the villain now, Barry?" Um, Next up, Season 3 feels like a repeat of the worst of Season 2. As much as I dislike Season 3, it's very different than Season 2. Just the tone itself. Season 2 was dark at points. But it wasn't like. In that season, most of the time, Barry was happy outside of like the last 4-ish episode. Then he gets his speed back, and once he gets his speed back, he is himself again. But in season 3, Barry is in pieces. He is traumatized. He is broken. And he feels the weight of his mistakes. It's very different. And it's no more the light-hearted show we had in season 1 and 2. Even if season 2 had dark moments, the art of the show was light-hearted. It was not Arrow. It wasn't Arrow by any means. In season 3, they tried so hard to be Arrow. I don't get it. Arrow was doing their own thing. It was working well because that was season 5, and season 5 was a masterpiece. So why did you try to do the same? Flash, you were working great with your first 2 seasons. Not the same thing. I disagree with that comment. It's good and I'd recommend it, but it's less eventful than the first 2 episodes, first 2 seasons, and the villain is utterly incompetent at times. At times, like everywhere, every time, all at once. I think this is the season 3 slump of a show, or maybe the beginning of its downfall. The villain was interesting, but turned into a parody of themselves. I agree. Tom Felton is fantastic. Wish it stuck around for the rest of the show because his character is almost just as funny and iconic as Cisco, which is saying a lot. Agreed. 10 out of 10. 7 out of 10. 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10. So, I think more 5 and 6 than season 1 or 2. But there is still a lot of people that are invested that gives 10s. It's interesting to see. Also love this season. Saboteur first was so scary. Also Alchemist. Don't remember exactly how he was called. I couldn't stop watching after the first episode. I can see where you are coming from. It got worse. A lot of whining about Iris, true. But the villain and the plot as a whole was interesting. I guess to Spanish. I'm not crazy. It dipped. A lot of people turned off the show and stopped watching at that point. So here we are with the viewership of The Flash first season. The pilot had 4.83 million viewers, while the second ever episode had a 4.27 million. Quite high numbers, right? Meet episode 9 and 10, also known as mid-season finale and mid-season premiere. Mid-season finale had a 4.66 million, while the mid-season premiere had a 3.87 million. So it's still pretty close from the numbers we had at the start of the season. We met a small decrease, but most people were still invested in the show. Meet Roger. Roger is the penultimate episode for season 1 with a 3.65 million, while Fast Enough, my favorite episode ever in the entire show, was a 3.87 million. Season 2 kick off with a 3.58 million for the season premiere, followed by a 3.49 million. The numbers are still quite high, and I think it's a trend in most shows. In between seasons, most shows tend to lose viewership, which is normal, but the decrease is not that huge. People are still tuning in and watching the show. Running Standstill. 3.55 million for the mid-season finale, followed by Potential Energy, one of the weakest episodes in the season, with a 3.41 million. The numbers are high. We cannot lie. It's CW. Keep that somewhere in your mind. We finish off the season with the penultimate episode having a 3.37 million, followed by the race of his life. Season finale for season 2, 3.35 million. I will probably repeat what I already said in my season overview. I haven't watched the season overview since I made it, so I don't know. But here's the thing. The Flash season 2 was really good. My most recent watch, I enjoyed it, but here's the thing. With a more critical lens, I realized they just dragged on that season for too long. The season could have ended with 18 episodes when they stopped Zoom, but hey, they need more drama, so Zoom escape. And guess what? He kidnaps Wally, and then he forced Barry into giving up his speed. Now just think a little bit. It's very heroic to sacrifice yourself for others. But in this specific case, is it smart? It's in character for Barry to do that. But here's the thing. What tells you that Zoom won't kill you once he got your speed? And guess what? I feel like a huge plot armor is on the entire cast the moment Zoom basically takes away Barry's speed. So I'm here and I'm like, that season started off amazing, but the ending is so hard to rewatch. I was rolling my eyes. There are many episodes where I just skipped the entire episode or I skipped a lot of scene. And it's sad because this is still my favorite season. But the last few episodes are ridiculous. It ruins everything for me. And throughout the entire season, there's a lot of issues I now see and I wasn't seeing. Many plot convenience, plot armor in 2000 on the entire cast. The writing could be better even when the show was at its peak. It's really sad to admit it, but this is the harsh truth. It's really hard to balance out a character like the Flash. At some point, Zoom also tells Caitlin if she betrays him, he will kill her. Guess what? He didn't kill her at the end. He didn't kill the others. And that's plot armor there, because before that point, before one of the main cast was in the crossfire, Zoom was straight up killing everyone. Why Joe is alive after Zoom killed the entire precinct? I understand Captain Singh because he had a mission he gave to Captain Singh, so I could understand. But why Joe? Why Joe was left alive? It's not really explained. So you see, it's not peak writing. It was a really good season. That's the peak of the show so far. I am currently rewatching season 3, and oh my, season 3. Another issue there. Cisco vibe. He does vibe at random time because he has no control over it. And most of the time, he is used as some kind of MacGuffin. He is like the key to everything. He will know everything at the right time, at the right moment. Because this is how his power works. I'm not a big fan of it. But here again, the Flash has hard time balancing OP character like Vibe and the Flash himself. There is a lot of scene where Barry will just stop running and he will start speaking to the weekly villain. And guess what? The weekly villain will take that opportunity, that window, that opening to attack and strike down Barry. Guess what? My most obvious example is Black Siren. Now, you will tell the argument Barry may be in shock that it's an alternate Laurel lens, but I don't care. He took his time to speak with the character that basically blows up buildings, and he thinks it's a good idea to just chill and speak and try to understand that character. That character is a psycho. She's killing people because she likes it. Barry, you are dumb. Now, at the end, as I said earlier, I enjoyed the season a lot. I was very entertained despite the ending. Now, looking back, I think it should deserve overall a 9 out of 10. And I think it's quite generous considering the issues I have. Maybe like more a 8.5. It's either 8.5 out of 10 or a 9. Zoom as a villain was great despite the inconsistent ending, but the last few episodes are a mess anyway, so he was a great villain until we discover who he is underneath the mask. But even there, even without the mask, he's still a good villain. I just don't like the plot armor. It's ridiculous. There's like no tension on everyone. Like, I just wish we had at least one character with a bit of tension. Maybe Wally, you know? Kill off someone, please. Eri was also a great character, by the way. And I will repeat what I remember saying in my overview. I like the parallel between Barry and Zoom and how similar both characters have, but the upbringing of both characters is what led them to become what they are. Nobody was there to support Jay, Gary, Solomon, call him the way you want. Nobody was there to support Zoom. Zoom turned into a monster, killing people and being selfish. And the other end, Barry was raised by Joe, a great stepfather, and at the end, he cares more about people around him than himself, which is very poetic. It's great, it's good. Zoom is hands down the best villain of the Flash TV show. Reverse Flash was cool, but Zoom is a more fitting for that best villain position. With that being said, I think we are done with this part of the video. Now, I will say this, I actually forgot to mention that, and I want to. The two best episodes in season 2 were Enter Zoom, episode 6, where Zoom basically beat down Barry and leave him almost dead. And the second best episode was Welcome to Earth 2. I liked a lot Earth 2. Part 2 is not as good as part 1, but the two-parter itself was great. The two weakest episodes are Rupture and Back to Normal. I really hate the episode where the main character, the Flash, doesn't have his powers. Rupture is a bit better than Back to Normal because at least in Rupture they have a fake Flash showing up, so I guess yeah, that season had a lot of eyes, and also the ending was really low. For real, like the first 18 episodes, I could tell this was a solid 10 out of 10. But most of the points I take away are from episode 18 and upward, 18 and above. Even Flashback, I thought for a long time that was a great episode, but I had a lot of issues with flashbacks. It's kinda sad. Anyway, season 2, great season. Better than season 1 for sure. The issues are more in the writing of the show than like obvious issues like love triangle crap, because there's no real love triangle. I still don't like how forced Iris and Barry are, but hey, they are comic book accurate, right? I will also say this. Iris as a character is much better in season 2. They fixed a lot of things that went wrong in season 1. She's a good character, and Patty Spivot is also another great character. I was sad to see her leave again, and this time around it's for good because we know the Flash is ending, and the best she will ever get if she comes back in the show is like a guest spot somewhere in season 9 if we are lucky. I say that because I don't think that will happen, but hey, if that happens, I will be glad. This character was a good character. Anyway, I hope everyone enjoyed this first part of my retrospective on the Flash TV show. Now, even if this seems like a goodbye video for the Flash, trust me, it's not. In the future, I plan on making other videos. In the future, it can be like 6 months from now, but I plan on speaking about the Flash in the future. This is a goal here. I want to keep the show alive even if it's ended. I'm still talking about Smallville, a show I was watching as a child, a show that is like 20 years old. So trust me, it's not the last time I cover The Flash. I will rewatch the show now that the show is over. It will be a bit rough because I know what to expect, but I will rewatch. With that being said, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And by the way, there's a link in the description below of me having a tier list of all Flash episodes. And by the way, you can also subscribe for my Red Blue podcast, the weekly podcast I talked about in the intro. So with that being said, see you next Tuesday if we are still airing our podcast on Tuesday. Sometimes the day is moving around. Anyway, I wish you all a great day and you take care, right? Bye-bye.